For thousands of years, humanity searched for gold in the same places: mountains, rivers, deep underground mines. But in 2025, gold was found somewhere no one expected: beneath the sea. Chinese media confirmed that China has discovered its first-ever underwater gold deposit, hidden beneath the seabed near Laizhou, off the coast of Yantai City in Shandong Province. This was not a rumor, not a theory, not a leak. It was official. And the numbers attached to this discovery stunned the global mining world. After confirming this underwater reserve, Laizhou's proven gold reserves now total approximately 3,900 metric tons. That is not just large. That represents around 26% of China's total national gold reserves. In one region. Let that sink in. More than 1/4 of China's known gold concentrated in a single coastal zone, now extending beneath the ocean itself. And yet, the exact size of the underwater deposit has not been disclosed. That silence is important, because when governments avoid numbers, it usually means one thing: the reality is either too valuable or too strategic to reveal. According to Yantai's municipal authorities, this discovery has pushed Laizhou to the top position in China, not only in gold reserves, but also in production potential, above every other mining region. But this story is not just about gold. It's about technology, geopolitics, and power. Because finding gold underwater is not like finding it on land. It requires advanced geological imaging, deep-sea drilling capabilities, extreme pressure engineering, and enormous financial investment. This is not something a country stumbles into. This is something a country plans, which raises a critical question. Why now? Why announce an underwater gold discovery at a time when global supply chains are fragile, currencies are under pressure, and gold is once again becoming a strategic asset? Gold is not just jewelry. It is insurance. It is leverage. It is trust when trust in paper weakens. And China knows this better than most. For years, China has quietly increased its gold holdings, reduced reliance on foreign reserves, strengthened control over strategic resources. This underwater discovery fits that pattern perfectly. But there is another layer to this story. Mining underwater gold is not simple extraction. It raises questions about environmental risk, maritime engineering limits, seabed stability, and long-term ecological impact. Yet, despite these challenges, the discovery was announced with confidence, not caution. That confidence suggests something powerful. China may already have the technology to extract it. And if that is true, this discovery doesn't just change China's gold map. It changes the global future of mining. Because once gold can be safely extracted from beneath the sea, no coastline is ordinary anymore. And no resource map is final. To understand how China discovered gold beneath the sea, we need to understand something first. This discovery did not happen suddenly. It was the result of years of quiet work. Long before the announcement, Chinese geologists were already focused on one critical question. What if the gold veins on land didn't stop at the shoreline? Because geology doesn't follow political borders. Mountains sink, plates shift, seas rise, and ancient land becomes seabed. The Laizhou region was already known as one of the richest gold zones in China. Decades of mining had revealed deep, stable, gold-bearing structures, veins that appeared to angle toward the coast. For scientists, that was a clue. Gold veins don't just vanish, they continue until something stops them. And in this case, that something was the ocean. China began combining onshore mining data with marine geological surveys, This is where modern technology changed everything. High-resolution seismic imaging allowed scientists to see beneath the seabed, mapping rock layers, faults, and mineral-rich zones without drilling. Magnetic and gravity surveys revealed dense metallic signatures, anomalies that often point to gold-bearing rock. Individually, these signals mean little. Together, they form a pattern. And in Laizhou's offshore zone, that pattern became impossible to ignore. The data suggested that the same gold system mined on land continued under the sea, locked beneath layers of sediment. This was not a scattered deposit. It appeared structural, stable, continuous, extensive. But seeing gold is not the same as proving it, so the next step was risky: drilling. Underwater drilling is one of the most complex operations in resource exploration. Extreme pressure, corrosive saltwater, unstable seabed layers. Every meter drilled costs money. Yet China moved forward, carefully, strategically. Test drills confirmed what the imaging predicted: gold-bearing rock beneath the seabed. Not traces, not dust, but economically viable ore. This was the moment the discovery became real, and it explains why officials speak confidently, but cautiously. Because proving the existence of underwater gold is one thing, extracting it safely is another. Yet China did not frame this discovery as speculative. It framed it as strategic expansion. That tells us something important. China likely believes extraction is not a future problem, but a solvable engineering challenge. This fits a broader pattern. China has invested heavily in deep-sea exploration, offshore energy platforms, subsea robotics, marine engineering. Gold mining beneath the sea is not an isolated ambition. It's part of a larger capability. And while other nations debated the cost and risk of deep-sea mining, China quietly built the tools. This discovery also exposes a blind spot in global resource mapping. Most countries still treat coastlines as boundaries. China treats them as continuations. Land does not end at the shore. It transitions. And that realization may redefine how future resources are discovered. If gold can extend beneath the ocean near Laizhou, what else lies hidden beneath coastal waters worldwide? Copper, rare earths, nickel, cobalt. Resources once thought unreachable, now simply unseen. At first glance, this looks like a mining story. But it isn't. It's a power story. Because gold is not just a commodity, it is confidence. When currencies shake, when debt grows, when trust weakens, nations don't run to paper, they run to gold. And China understands this deeply. For years, China has quietly increased its gold reserves while reducing dependence on foreign assets. Unlike loud announcements, this strategy was silent, methodical, and deliberate. The underwater discovery near Laizhou fits perfectly into that pattern. Let's be clear about scale. With confirmed reserves of roughly 3,900 metric tons, Laizhou alone accounts for around 26% of China's total proven gold reserves. That concentration is extraordinary. Few countries in the world can point to a single region holding that much strategic metal. Now, add one more fact. This gold is domestic, not imported, not exposed to sanctions, not dependent on foreign supply chains. That matters more than most people realize. Gold mined at home strengthens national resilience. It gives governments options when global systems become unstable. Options are power. Now, zoom out. The world is entering a period of financial uncertainty. High debt levels, inflation pressure, geopolitical tension, currency competition. In such times, gold becomes more than a hedge. It becomes a signal. By announcing this discovery, China sends a quiet message. It says, "We control our resources. We can secure our reserves. We are prepared for long-term instability." No threats, no speeches, just geology. This also affects global gold markets. When a major producer secures massive new reserves, it changes long-term expectations. Not overnight prices, but future leverage. If China chooses to slow exports, increase reserves, or redirect supply internally, markets will feel it. And because this deposit lies partly underwater, it adds another layer of strategic insulation. Extraction can be paced, disclosure can be limited, control remains centralized. There is also a geopolitical angle many overlook. Coastal and underwater resources are harder to monitor externally. They exist in a gray zone between land and sea, between public maps and classified data. That ambiguity is valuable. It buys time. It buys flexibility. This discovery also challenges a long-standing assumption that the age of easy gold discoveries is over. China's find suggests something else, that future gold may not lie deeper underground, but farther offshore. And whoever masters that frontier first gains a long-term advantage. Technology becomes the gatekeeper. Engineering becomes strategy. Countries without deep-sea capability may find themselves locked out of resources they never knew they had. Countries that invested early, like China, gain a head start that's hard to close. This is not about domination. It's about preparedness. And preparedness is the currency of power. But there is still one question left unanswered. Finding gold is one thing. Using it safely, responsibly, and without backlash is another. And that's where the next challenge begins. Finding gold beneath the ocean sounds like triumph. But beneath every triumph is resistance. And beneath the seabed, resistance is not political. It is physical. Underwater gold mining is not just harder than land mining. It is exponentially more complex. Pressure increases, visibility disappears, corrosion accelerates, mistakes become catastrophic. Every meter below the seabed multiplies risk. This is why, until recently, underwater hard rock mining remained largely theoretical. The first challenge is engineering. Unlike oil or gas, gold does not flow. It must be cut, crushed, stabilized. Doing this underwater requires sealed drilling systems, robotic extraction tools, and real-time monitoring under extreme conditions. One failure can flood tunnels, collapse seabed layers, or contaminate surrounding waters. This is not an environment that forgives errors. Then comes the environmental question. Marine ecosystems are fragile in ways we don't fully understand. Disturbing seabed layers can release trapped sediments, alter currents, and affect oxygen levels, impacting fish, coral, and microorganisms. These are not visible effects. They unfold slowly and sometimes irreversibly. This is why deep-sea mining has faced global opposition in recent years. Environmental groups warn that once damage is done beneath the ocean, it may be impossible to undo. And unlike land mining, there is no easy containment. The sea carries everything. China is fully aware of this scrutiny, which is why officials have been careful with language. They announced the discovery, but not an aggressive extraction timeline. That hesitation is strategic. It suggests testing, not rushing, pilot programs, limited drilling, data collection, before scale. There is also a geopolitical sensitivity. Underwater resources near coastlines raise questions about maritime jurisdiction, international law, and environmental responsibility. While Liizhou lies within China's coastal waters, precedent matters. What China does here will be watched and potentially challenged globally. And then there is economics. Underwater mining is expensive, extremely expensive. The gold must justify the cost, not just financially, but politically and environmentally. Next, extraction will likely be selective, strategic, not rushed to market, which again reinforces the idea that this discovery is about long-term positioning, not short-term profit. There is also a quieter risk: technology leakage. If underwater mining proves viable, others will race to copy it. Competition will accelerate, standards will be challenged, and the seabed could become the next contested frontier, not just for gold, but for all strategic minerals. So while this discovery appears as a breakthrough, it also opens a door that cannot be closed. A door into deeper oceans, higher stakes, and global debate. The gold may be silent, but the consequences will not be. Which brings us to the final question. What happens next? Will China move forward cautiously or decisively? And what does this mean for the future of resource exploration worldwide? Because this discovery may only be the beginning. Every major shift in human history begins quietly, not with noise, but with discovery. And China's underwater gold find may be one of those moments. For centuries, we believed that the map of Earth's resources was mostly complete. The land was measured, the mountains were drilled, the mines were catalogued. The ocean was seen as a barrier, not a vault. This discovery changes that assumption. If gold can extend beneath the seabed near Liizhou, then coastlines everywhere may hide untapped wealth. Not just gold, but copper, nickel, rare earth elements, resources critical for the modern world. And suddenly, the frontier shifts from deeper mines to deeper waters. This also redefines the future of mining. The most valuable assets may no longer be those with the deepest shafts, but those with the strongest marine engineering, robotics, subsea drilling, environmental monitoring. Technology becomes the gatekeeper. And nations that invested early will lead. China appears determined to be among them. But this future is not guaranteed. The ocean does not give freely. Environmental responsibility will determine whether underwater mining becomes sustainable or forbidden. Global pressure will grow, rules will be written, mistakes will be remembered. The first movers will define the standards, for better or worse. There is also a deeper implication. Gold has always represented stability. Finding it underwater, in a time of global uncertainty, feels symbolic. It reminds us that even when familiar systems weaken, new foundations can still be found. But only by those willing to look where others didn't. China's discovery does not end the story. It begins a new chapter. One where oceans are no longer edges of the map, but pages waiting to be written. The real question is no longer where gold exists. It's who is prepared to reach it responsibly. Because the future of resources may lie not beneath our feet, but beneath the waves. Silent, hidden, waiting.